lot of terms for it. When you're playing meaningless hockey down the stretch, it becomes a bit of a grind just to try and look forward to the next day, right, when you realize you're not playing in the playoffs. But that being said, give anything to be playing hockey in another week right now.
Hard not to look back and think of what it was like last year.
Yeah, what a difference a year makes, or 8 months, or 9, whatever it is. What a difference a year makes. We were standing here, and obviously, when you don't win the last game of the season, I think you have questions that need to be answered. But when you're not even putting yourselves in a conversation to play extra hockey at the end of the year, questions get a lot harder, and talks get a lot more meaningful. So it's a tough couple of days to be around that.
Final thought is frustrated. I think we're all frustrated that we didn't, perform up to expectations, and that we're here on this day going home as opposed to trying to prepare for ourselves for some more games. But, you live and you learn, and hopefully we take these lessons we learned this year and able to use those going forward.
Maybe the answers get harder too. What went wrong this year?
I wish I knew. I thought we were inconsistent. If you're asking me what I thought, we didn't take care of home ice. We allowed too many goals. We chased games early. So many different things went wrong for one. But we didn't correct any of them in time and couldn't get the ship righted.
Is there a possibility that maybe the success that you had last year was taken for granted, or a little bit for granted at some point in the start of the season?
I wouldn't say taken for granted. I would say our expectations were higher than prior years because of what we did, and that's that's a credit to what we did last year. But at the same time, we just weren't able to play up to those expectations, and those can wear on you mentally and frustrate you when things don't go the way they're supposed to or the way you expect them to, and that can turn into a downward spiral.
What do you hope for or expect for you this summer?
Well, my expectations are go home and get healthy, which I'm well on the way to doing, obviously, but get healthy and start training quickly, and come back in camp with the same mindset that I did this year, which is I had a good camp and a good start to the season, and injuries derailed that, but my expectations are coming to camp the same way I did last year.
You said you're on your way to healthy. What's new, and what can you do with it? It's
just time. Hands are time, and fingers, and get the swelling back down, which is starting to look like a normal finger and hand again, and time will help. Right? There's nothing you can really do to rehab those kind of things other than strengthening a little bit here and there, but just bone injuries or time injuries.
I think if a player stands up here and says that he played his best, I think he'd be lying to you. So 100%, we all could play a little bit better, and there's certain games and situations where that we made mistakes, and as individuals we made mistakes as a group, and I'd be lying to say that I played my best. There's absolutely no argument there. There's goals, there's games, there's situations where I'd love to have back, but you learn from it, you move on, and when things you have success, the mistakes you make get covered up with the wins. So when you lose, every mistake is magnified. So you could break down the game from this year to last year or the year before or whatever, and you could be making the same exact mistakes or similar ones, but because you win, they don't get magnified, then you're not, it doesn't get singled out that way. And I think that's kind of the way this year went. When you don't have success, all the mistakes get magnified, and you start, that's when things start to get kind of the blame, or the reason why starts coming up. I mean, we had a kind of some rally points last year to come around and come together as a group, and that was kind of one of those things where you don't want that stuff to happen, and you try to find other things to bring the group together, and it was really easy for us to come together last year, where this year we had to find stuff to come together, and it just didn't work out as we planned, and we weren't able to come together as a group the way we did the year before.
You talked just after the deadline, you thought maybe you were going to be moved. Does that mean to make this summer a little uncertain for you, and despite having the contract left of years?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, based on my conversation, I don't think that will be the case early on here, but things change very, very quickly when you're in the position that we're in. But I'm not going to treat my summer any differently because of it, right? That's so far out of my control that I'll listen and I'll pay attention a little closer because things could change, but nothing else will change in that regard for me.
I found a way to manage the body this year, and we did a great job with it. And it takes a little bit of luck sometimes to be healthy for 82.
At this point in your career, there's always something that can be worked on, but what do you go back home during the summer and work on?
For me, it's keeping up the quickness, staying focused, and being mentally sharp. And the game is evolving, and I think you're starting to see it with some of the younger goalies, the way they play. And my job is to figure out how to keep evolving and learning the new techniques and getting to the point where I'm comfortable using them. I'll never be as comfortable as some of the younger guys, the way they move around the net and on the post. But if I can continue to evolve and change my game to kind of stay up to the times, I think it'll be good for me.
Ultimately, we're the guys that go out on the ice, whether the system failed, whether the X's and O's failed, that doesn't matter, right? And we have to go out and correct it as players, and we didn't do any of that this year. We were guilty of almost cheating, right, early in the year. So most of the onus is on us, right? Coaches can do everything they can to prepare you, but you got to go out and execute, and we didn't execute.
Was the message still being accepted by you guys from the coaching?
Yeah, I don't think there was any. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there was any quit on coaches or players on coaches, if you get what I'm saying, right? We definitely didn't have any of that this year. So what Guy's saying is still being heard, to answer your question.
I know we finished 30 points out of a playoff spot, but Florida missed it by a point or two, and they're having the same conversation today as we are. So, it's not fun whether you're 31st, 30th, or 17th.